Season 3, Episode 7 of Chucky, titled There Will Be Blood, did not hold back on the blood and gore at all. This was a blood-soaked filled episode and a lot of homages to previous horror films, horror TV shows, especially The Shining with the elevator sequence in this episode. This episode starts off with the spirit of Charles Lee Ray roaming in the spirit realm through the White House. He passes Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. He even sees the security guard that he shot, the secretary that he killed. He goes into the Oval Office and we see pictures on the wall of Chucky, but in presidential form and attire. And we see Chucky, evidently Chucky, at the head of the desk, at the front desk of the Oval Office, and he's actually Damballa, the god that Charles Lee Ray evidently, worships. And Charles Lee Ray tries to figure out why he died after spilling so much carnage and blood in the White House. And Damballa's like, you did certain things, but I kind of wasn't paying attention to it. And before Damballa sends Charles Lee Ray to hell, he wants another chance, and that chance is to do right in order to come back. Seeing Brad Dourif play Charles Lee Ray in physical form or spirit form once again after 30 plus years is really, really good, because he makes this role what it is as Chucky. And seeing Charles Lee Ray in physical form, Brad Dourif, speaking to Chucky, the doll form, in Brad Dourif's voice as well, was a nice back and forth, because he's basically talking to himself. We then get into the episode. We see that the vice president is going to be the new president after Bryce kind of says that, oh, the former president has brain cancer, this and that, so on and so forth. He tries to get those things going. But then you still have the psychic and the ghost hunter still coming from Duke University. We then see Jake, Devin, and Lexi along with Garrett in the room where they're locked up. And the First Lady and her son Henry are whisked away, but Garrett stays behind in order to stay with Jake, Devin, and Lexi. And all craziness ensues in this episode. Not only that, we see Jennifer Tilly, or Tiffany Valentine, still on death row, but things don't work out the way they seem. Something happens to one of the security guards that evidently is working for Tiffany, or Miss Valentine for that matter, and she is going to be put through lethal injection. We then figure out that while this psychic or this medium is walking through the areas and the confines of the White House, he sees certain things happening. He feels the energy of Charles Lee Ray. And let me tell you, the jump scares and the shock and the value of whatever is in this episode is really, really forefront. And they went with the horror aspect, which really, really works in this episode. The writing is really well done. And after the body double of the president gives his address to say that the vice president is going to be taking over, he kind of figures out that he's going to die by lethal injection. He gets in the elevator, and then all of a sudden he tries to figure out what's happening. The guard that works for Bryce goes after him. They have a back and forth mano-a-mano fight, but then blood starts dripping from the ceiling, and it just fills up with gallons and gallons of blood. And an interesting sequence, and we see Charles Lee Ray in spirit form, but as the body double goes in and is drowning, we see the doll in Chucky form. It's just really, really well done, and how everything works. And then the seance begins. Lexi wants to know where her sister Caroline is, and basically they reach out through Charles Lee Ray, through the psychic, and he's just toying with them, having the time of his life. He then, in the seance, kills 3 people. The psychic's partner, who is working with him, and then the vice president and the vice president's right-hand woman, which is really, really good. So now Bryce doesn't know what to do. So all the while, we're figuring things out. And Jake kind of has an idea where it's like, oh, why don't we flatliners, or, do this thing with the abyss where I die for 5 minutes, go into the spirit realm, find out where Caroline is, and you bring me back. And Lexi's like, that's freaking stupid, because that's only a movie, which is interesting because they are, kind of knowing that you know, it's cohesive enough to know that it takes place in the same universe. And he's like, no, we can find good Chucky. Good Chucky was really good and all this. And then as Jake's going under, we see Tiffany Valentine going under, and then it's a nice back and forth edit, and that's the end of the episode. What can happen now? One episode left until the season finale. Or is it the series finale? What will Don Mancini do? How will he progress with this franchise? Will it continue? Will it not continue? This was a very, very fun episode, being that Brad Dourif coming in as Charles Lee Ray really, really made it fun, worth watching, and absolutely acceptable to understand. The horror aspect is there. The horror elements were there. The frights were there. It was just really well done. The emotion was there. What can happen? It leaves it all up in the air because technically Chucky did die. He's now a spirit. But will he come back? Will Damballa give him another chance? Or will that be it? And who will Jake see in the spirit realm? I mean, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. And with the season 3 finale coming up, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. I had a blast with this episode. It's very rare that a third season and the 7th episode of a series or a show is really, really good. Holds your attention, keeps your attention. Don Mancini is doing something that no other horror franchise or horror icon or horror story has ever done. To have the setting in the White House, of all places, where the craziest shit has happened over the past 200 some years. What could go wrong? Well, we have to wait and see to find out. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Season 3, Episode 7 of Chucky, titled There Will Be Blood. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What do you think is going to happen in the Season 3 finale? Who do you think Jake is going to run into in the spirit realm? Do you think Chucky will get one last chance and come back to life through Damballa? What will Damballa do? And what do you think is going to happen in the rest of this franchise? And do you see it continuing with a 4th season or another movie? Let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new review videos on my channel. I will see you all in the next review video. I'm Mr. Filmstock. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll see you all next week for the Season 3 finale of Chucky.